Hey, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you're all doing well. What is poppin' on this very snowy Saturday here in late January? Can't say that I'm mad at the weather. I did drive in it today for a little bit, which was very annoying. I didn't take my car over like 25, but you know what? It does look gorgeous outside. We tried playing with our son in the snow today and it was a hot mess. He was like, absolutely not, but our dog did love it. What's the weather where you guys are right now? It's going to be very cold here for the next couple of weeks. I want to show you guys the different lighting on this because I feel like, so this is like a very bright light, and sometimes when I film with it, I get a massive headache. This is a more like warm, kind of like neutral. When I'm looking at this right now filming, it's not giving me like massive headache. This is even warmer. I like it. I just don't know how it's gonna show up, like cold, neutral, super warm. I feel like this one actually is the best. Let's work with this one. All right, you guys, what is up for the first month of the year? Sorry if I'm looking down a lot. I'm looking at my notes and everything that I read for this month, which I would say it was a good reading month. I typically average anywhere from like 4 to 6 books. Also, hi, intro. If you're new here, my name is Heather and I love to read and review mainly mysteries and thrillers, but I will read whatever I'm feeling at the moment, which of course is thrillers. All right, so I gave myself a break. I took some of the stressors off of myself for like physically reading books this month. So I actually only read one physical book, and that book was A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget, Kemmerer. So sorry if that's wrong, but this is actually a YA fantasy novel. I've talked about this book a couple of times. I've mentioned it in quite a bit of my TBRs because it has been on my shelf literally for like 2 years. But some of my best friends and I wanted to do a book club, and we chose this book, and I'm actually seeing them in 12 days from filming this. So I was like, you know what? I need to get through it. And then I obsessively is not the right word, impulsively bought the other 2 books in the series. It's a YA trilogy. And I bought those 2 even before I knew if I was gonna like this book or not. Because when I started reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, loved it, finished it, and then I needed the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury, so badly. And this was like in the height of COVID. Barnes and Noble didn't have it. Amazon was like, we'll get it to you in like 2 weeks. And I was like, what the fuck, guys? No, I need it now. And then anyways, I just ended up reading that one on my Kindle. No, I don't have a Kindle, on my Barnes & Noble Nook, which is broken. And now I use the Kindle app on my phone. Anyways, I digress. I was like, what if it's the same? Like, what if I finish this book and I need the second book? Like, I better go buy it. So that's what I did. I had 2 gift cards. I actually got the last 2 books for $1 because Barnes & Noble also does 20% off for educators, fellow teachers and educators. If you didn't know that, they do that, and I forgot it. So it was like a really pleasant surprise when the man was cashing out my books. He's like, great, with this discount and your gift cards, it's $1.24. And I was like, you're kidding me. Anyways, A Heart So Fierce and Broken is the second book, and then A Vow So Bold and Deadly is the third. However, I will say I finished this book and I liked it, but it's really hard for me to not compare this series with A Court of Thorns and Roses because I don't read a whole ton of A, fantasy, or B, young adult books anymore. I just don't. I used to back when I first started this channel, but there wasn't enough romance in this for me. If you're unfamiliar with the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, those books are steamy to say the least. So like I almost kind of like require that now if I'm reading like a fantasy series. So anyways, there was like a couple of smooches in this book. Can I even say a couple? I don't know. Was there like, there was one smooch. Anyways, that was it. So I was kind of like, kind of missing that aspect, but the story is really great. It's kind of, no, it is like a Beauty and the Beast. I don't want to say retelling, but like kind of like spin-off, which oddly enough, the first A Court of Thorns and Roses book is also like marketed as that. So very similar, very similar. So the main character in this book has cerebral palsy. And sorry, I said that so slowly, but like you guys know, if there are more than 2 R's in a word, it's like my tongue doesn't work properly. I don't know what it is. What was the other? Oh, remember a couple of videos ago, someone was actually so nice and they're like, I was trying to say rural and they like commented and they were like giving a tip and trick of how like they say it because I struggled and I think I like kept that footage in there, me trying to say that word. Anyways, this character has cerebral palsy and she like she's like in our world and then something cool and mystical happens and then she's like transported into like a mystical realm. And that's basically it. It's like, well, not it, but that's basically like, you know, how the story gets going. It's a fun read. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to read this right now like I was with A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I am going to read the other two, obviously, because I bought them and I am excited to read them. I'm just not like running to read it. So anyways, on my rating scale, I would give this an enjoyable read. I'm not going to say like, go get it now. But like if you're looking for a fun series and you want to talk about it, go get it now. We can talk about it. So yeah, that is my only tangible book for the month of January. The next book I read was What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This book was given to me by the publisher in the audiobook format. So like I said, the other 3 books I'm mentioning are all audiobooks. So thank you, Macmillan, for the chance to listen to What Lies in the Woods. I was actually extra stoked because I got this and then I found out a couple days later that it was the book of the month pick for January. So all of these books with this little sticker, or not sticker, just box, are from Book of the Month, which is the book buying subscription that I subscribe to. If you're unfamiliar with Book of the Month, it is a book buying subscription for $14.99. You get to choose one hardcover book, and hardcover books, as you guys know, typically retail from anywhere from like $25.99 to sometimes $35. So I think it's a steal. Plus you can choose up to 2 other hardcover books for only $10. So if that's a 3-month, they cap you at getting 3 books a month. So you can walk away with 3 hardcover books for a little over $30. So these other top shelves are full of Book of the Month too. I've been a subscriber since 2020. I was on my account looking at some stuff earlier this week, but I love it. I did get 3 books in January. They just weren't that book because I knew that I had the audiobook for it. I'm not going to go too much into this book because a full review is already filmed, it's already edited, and it is coming. I liked it, but it's a good like starter thriller. If you're new to thrillers, I would say it's a good thriller to start with. However, it just felt like a ton of other thriller books that I've read before, which is actually like a trend that I'm noticing with thrillers lately. Like I'm not getting super excited about thrillers lately because they seem very been there, done that, like all of them. So that's kind of why I'm taking a break and like had to fill in with some YA. So for that book, I would give it an enjoyable read, but I wouldn't like rush out and get it. I was interested. Like I typically do not read people's reviews, especially on like Bookstagram, until I finish the book because it can skew me. And when I was done, I was looking at some of friends I have on there, and a lot of them rated this book 5 stars, a lot of them. So I was actually surprised because I thought a lot of people would feel the same way that I did because there are like 2 or 3 thrillers that come to mind where I'm like, okay, it's basically like the same plot, but people love this book. So if you want to jump on the hype train, then yeah, you should probably read it. The last two books that I'm going to talk about, I really liked. Really liked. The second audiobook was The Angel Maker by Alex North. If you're unfamiliar with Alex North, he wrote The Whisper Man, which, is that up here somewhere? Yes. Let me get it. Alex North wrote The Whisper Man. This is one of the first thrillers that I read, whoa, dusty, when I came back to BookTube, and it is so fucking good. Like, read this thriller if you haven't yet. I will link it down below for you. He also wrote The Shadow Man. Oh, I'm sorry, The Shadows. My bad, The Shadows. This I would pass on. Didn't love this. Absolutely adored this book. Adored is a weird word. It's a super, change that word. I liked it. It's a good thriller experience. I didn't adore it because, oh my gosh, is it graphic and disturbing. Anyways, Alex North is a thriller writer, but he also, like, his books have this like horror charm to them. Like, you read them and you're like scared out of your mind. He has this good way of like putting in kind of like a supernatural element. Not like Simone St. James, because I describe her books the same way. She's more like ghosty kind of like influence. This is like horror influence, in my opinion. Just like kind of like stuff that you're just kind of questioning, like, well, what's really happening here? So anyways, it's no different with The Angel Maker. I am going to go ahead and read this synopsis for you. I do think that I am going to film an entire review on this book. But this book does not come out until February. I was granted this book by the same publisher. Thank you again, Macmillan. You guys are literally the freaking best and making my dreams come true in 2023. So The Angel Maker comes out February 28th. So I did want to just give you guys a synopsis since it'll be roughly a month from the drop date, pub date for that book and when I'm filming this video. So The Angel Maker is a dark, suspenseful new thriller about the mysteries of fate and the unbreakable bond of siblings, a notorious serial killer who is said to know the future. You may hear a little stuff in the background. My husband is amazing and was just shoveling the driveway. So it says, growing up in a beautiful house in the English countryside, Katie Shaw lived a charmed life. At the cusp of graduation, she had big dreams, a devoted boyfriend, and a little brother she protected fiercely, until the day a violent stranger changed the fate of her family forever. Years later, still unable to live down the guilt surrounding what happened to her brother, Chris, and now with a child of her own to protect, Katie struggles to separate the real threats from the imagined. Then she gets the phone call. Chris has gone missing and needs his big sister once more. Meanwhile, Detective Lawrence Page is facing a particularly gruesome crime. A distinguished professor of fate and free will has been brutally murdered just hours after firing his staff. All the leads point back to two old cases, the gruesome attack on teenager Christopher Shaw and the despicable crimes of a notorious serial killer who, legend had it, could see the future. I thought it was really good. I'm surprised looking at these ratings right now. I mean, there's only 524 reviews so far, or I'm sorry, ratings. That's actually kind of high for a book that hasn't even been published yet. And then 310 like dedicated reviews, and it's a 3.68 on Goodreads. I liked it though. Like, as I was just saying, I would say it's a go get this book now. He has a way of like writing a gruesome thriller, right? While also, sorry, I don't know why my computer is like bugging out. Writing a gruesome thriller along with just like making the story like fast paced, but also like that mystical kind of like horror sprinkled into it. I thought it was really good. So was it as good as The Whisper Man? No, but like I would say it's the best thriller I've read so far in 2023. And I guess that's not that many, but I thought it was good. I would recommend it to you guys. I would say it's a go get this book now, or at least like a pre-order, which I will link down below for you. I'm hopeful that it will be the book of the month because they have had him in the past. But then again, they did us dirty by not having the new Rachel Hawkins book So, and they've had her in the past. So I don't know. I'm hopeful it'll be the book of the month choice, but you know, no promises. And the last book I read is a book that is very challenging for me to rate. Because of the content, but everyone's gonna say that, and I'm sure some of you are already predicting, but that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Actually, I just looked it up. I think it's McCurdy, Jeanette McCurdy. This book obviously has been everywhere. I've at least seen it everywhere. I've seen people talking about it. Its reviews are fucking wild. Hold on, let me pull up Goodreads. Listen to this, okay? Listen to this. It is a 4.57 on Goodreads, 343,117 ratings, just the ratings, and then dedicated reviews, 41,618. And it's got that star rating. Jeanette tells you her life story here in this memoir autobiography. And holy cow, all I can say is, Jeanette, thank you for sharing your story. And I'm just in awe of her. Like, I respect her so much. I was literally listening to this audiobook like, wow. She's funny. Like, Jeanette is hilarious. So it's like a very like how many times can I say that word? Jeanette is funny. She's funny. Okay. She's hilarious. So listening to her tell you her life story that's like heartbreaking, and there's so much, but then like she also puts her like comedic relief in there. Her comedic relief is very much needed in this audiobook, because she just tells everything that she's been through and like her childhood traumas. And yeah, I mean, I understand why everyone's listening to it. It's, you know, like I said, sorry. Can you tell it was a full week of work? It was a full week of work. If you're new here, I'm a teacher, and I was definitely had my voice raised a lot with the kids this week. January's been kind of like, we haven't really had a lot of full weeks of work, or school, I should say. Anyways, my voice it gets that raspy tone. If you're ever listening to my videos and it has a rasp, just know it was a stern week. Anyways, all the kudos, all the respect, all the just like amazingness surrounding Jeanette. Listen to her memoir if you haven't already. I've said this like 40 times in this video, but I have so much respect for her. And I am glad that I jumped on the train of literally everyone being like, read this. So of course it's a go get this book now. I listened to the audiobook. I just used an Audible credit, and I loved that I did that, because I mean, I grew up watching iCarly, and I like hearing her voice was nostalgic, you know? And like I said, she's funny. So if you're looking, you know, just to listen to her and feel that nostalgic feel, I would recommend listening to the book. So 2 go get this book now ratings, and then 2 an enjoyable read. Overall, not a bad start to 2023, my friends. I will just show you a really quick sneak peek of the next book that I'm reading. This is called Someone Had to Do It by Amber and Danielle Brown, a beautiful sister twin duo who actually reached out to me and sent me this book. And when I was at Barnes & Noble, impulsively buying the other 2 from the series I was just showing you guys, I actually saw this like front and center on the shelf, and I was like, hey, I have that book at home. So yeah, this is a thriller, and this will be my first thriller in February. So I'll read a short synopsis for you. It says, Brandy Maxwell is living the dream as an intern at prestigious New York fashion house Simon Von Doren. Except living the dream looks more like scrubbing puke from couture dresses worn by hard-partying models and putting up with microaggressions from her white colleagues. Still, she can't help but fangirl over Simon's it girl, Taylor. Until one night at a glamorous Van Doren party when Brandy overhears something she shouldn't have, and her fate becomes dangerously intertwined with Taylor's. Model and influencer Taylor Van Doren has everything and is this close to losing it all. Her fashion mogul father will donate her inheritance to charity if she fails her next drug test, and he's about to marry someone nearly as young as Taylor, further threatening her stake in her father's fortune. But Taylor deserves the money that's rightfully hers, and she'll go to any lengths to get it, even if that means sacrificing her famous father in the process. All she needs is the perfect person to take the fall. Like, how gorgeous is that woman, too, on the front? Anyways, yes, super excited to read it. They also sent me a personalized little card, which made me happy. So thank you so much, Amber and Danielle, for this. I'm excited to start off my reading month, next reading month, off with a bang. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite book in the month of January. I love chatting with you guys. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.